Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, August 29th, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The central government outturn for current expenditure saw an increase of $5.7 million up to July compared to the corresponding period in 2016. In Parliament today, during the question and answer period, Leader of the Opposition, Dr. Godwin Friday, on behalf of Member of Parliament for East Kingstown, Adam Eustace, requested the June figures. However, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Rav Gonsalves, had the more updated figures to July and outlined the fiscal outturn.
Total revenues and grants up to the end of July 2017, $332.5 million. For last year, $336.2 million. Current revenue, $319.9 million compared to $327 million. Total expenditure 2017 up to the end of July, $350.04 million compared to $350.04 compared to last year, the same time at the end of July, $332.8 million. Honorable members would notice there that's about a 5.2% increase, of which expenditure, current expenditure is $323.2 million, as against $305.9 million last year, an increase in current expenditure of about $5.7 million.
Not detailing specifics as it relates to the increase, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves said that the numbers included that of the overall balance, which is some $17 million for 2017.
Capital expenditure is more or less even between last year and this year, 26.8 compared to 26.9. The current balance, 3.27 deficit compared to $21 million last year. Primary balance in the positive, 8.126 this year compared to 26.8 last year. And the overall balance between the capital and recurrent accounts, 17.5 million deficit compared to 3.4 million last year. As you see, Mr. Speaker, from month to month, you will see variations, and some of them are accountability issues. Accounting issues, sorry, when things are entered, and it all comes out in the wash, but it gives an indication where we are.
This country continues to benefit from its diplomatic ties with the government and people of the Republic of China on Taiwan. The latest donation comes in the form of 10 school buses and several pieces of equipment, which were handed over at a ceremony at the Iyah Joshua Tarmac on Monday evening. The 10 buses are to be leased to persons to be used to transport school children from the opening of the new school year. Nikita Tony tells us more in this report.
Students here in SVG on September 4th can look forward to traveling to and from school with less hassle, as 10 new school buses are expected to be operational in several routes across the country. Made possible through a donation by the government and people of the Republic of China on Taiwan, the buses will be leased to operators by the government of SVG under strict conditions and monitoring. At the official handing over ceremony held last evening at the Iyah Joshua Tarmac, Minister of Transport and Works, Senator Julian Francis, gave the assurance that despite the fact that the buses are used, they will be taken care of. Students here in SVG on September 4th can look forward to traveling to and from school with less hassle, as 10 new school buses are expected to be operational in several routes across the country. Made possible through a donation by the government and people of the Republic of China on Taiwan, the buses will be leased to operators by the government of SVG under strict conditions and monitoring. At the official handing over ceremony held last evening at the Iyah Joshua Tarmac, Minister of Transport and Works, Senator Julian Francis, gave the assurance that despite the fact that the buses are used, they will be taken care of.
and those that we have already. Buses will be leased over a 5-year period. At the end of that 5-year period, the operator would have an option to negotiate with the government to purchase the bus. The government is committing itself to paying the first license on the bus, that is, get the bus license, and pay the insurance. We will put out that money up front, and it will be deducted over the period of the year and the 5 years.
Outlining the specifics under which the buses will be leased, Minister Francis noted that some 47 operators are currently being interviewed to finalize the 10 lucky lessees.
Thursday the latest, we will have that completed, and before Friday, the 10 lucky persons who will be getting these buses will have them and be ready for Monday. Persons who are getting the buses will not be putting in anything to get the bus on the road except the diesel. Spending that is expected by the lessee will be mainly the maintenance, continued maintenance of the buses. We will also be having monitors to inspect the buses. The government will be providing 3 free general services per year. It's expected that we will have responsible persons driving these buses. One of the clauses in the lease that you will be signing, those of you who will be getting the buses, would state that persons 30 years and over will be driving these buses.
Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs in Taiwan, His Excellency Ambassador Li Lu, pointed out that the donation came as a result of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves' visit to Taiwan last October.
He mentioned the need for safe and secure means of transportation for school children. Taiwan, same as St. Vincent and the Grenadines, places importance of quality education a top priority. Therefore, President Tsai immediately committed herself to contribute for the procurement of the buses for the children.
Delivering the featured address, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves praised the continuing diplomatic ties between SVG and Taiwan. He further added that the initiative was part of the government's commitment to ensure that students are provided with safe and efficient transport to and from school.
Give a lot of concessions to minibuses to transport school children. We contract buses to transport school children. We have to, in the schools, make sure that with the children who are going home, the teachers and the schools and the Ministry of Education say, let us get you home as soon as possible after 3 o'clock, unless you have some kind of other school activities.
Monday's handing over ceremony also featured the launch of 24 agricultural machineries under a special project in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, and Rural Transformation. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
Minister of Transport and Works Julian Francis has said he is looking forward to high-quality work to be done by private contractors, and the Building, Roads and General Services Authority, BRACSA, currently undertaking road repair work across the country. At a media conference on Monday, the Transport and Works Minister said over $17.6 million have been allocated to BRACSA, with some $13.7 million to be used for road repair work. Minister Francis took the opportunity to highlight road repair work to be done in the East Kingstown, East St. George and Mariaquaw constituencies, as well as the contractors responsible for the work.
With the drainage also improved, because that was one of the major problems we had down in Roseau there. The road in some areas was lower than the drain itself, but now the roads have been raised by 4 or 5 inches of asphalt, and the cross drain is now being built up, so you won't have that heavy dip in there. Entire Villa Fountain Road, that is Zan Sutherland. I know that he has started because I drove through there on Friday in the rain, because I think it was raining heavily Friday. Belair Spa Road to Ashburton, Lorna Spencer has been contracted on that. In East St. George, 3 pieces in Brighton. Allen Dean has been contracted for that. Fairhall Main Road, Sinclair Descent has been contracted on that. In Mariaqua, Hopewell to Richland Park Junction, Simeon Mackey. Richland Park, Francis Marks.
Whilst highlighting some of the work done in the South Windward constituency, the Transport and Works Minister also spoke on some of the limitations which both BRAXA and the private contractors will face in executing their work.
Park Hill Main Road, Zero Sutherland, and Chapman's, that is the Chapman's out in Georgetown area, Chesley Mercury. These have been contracted. Now, if you have $20 million, $30 million, you have a maximum number of road repair, asphalt repair teams in St. Vincent. They can only handle one piece of road at a time. While the contract may involve other roads, they can only be working on one, because there are not many private sector contractors for asphalt, which is really periodic work. It's not ongoing. So they wouldn't have a large crew to be able to handle 2 and 3 roads at the same time. So the value of works that have been contracted or started is about $2.1 million. So this $2.1 million of the $13.7 million is actually in effect.
Stating that he expects quality work to be done under the Roads Repair Work Program, Francis said the public can also do its part to ensure the contractors provide quality work.
I want you as the public and the media to be policemen of this work. Not because there's a lot of money there and we have a lot of road patching to do. I do not want second-class work. I want you to be on the tops of BRAXA engineers and road supervisors, to be on the top of the contractors, including our patching crews, to make sure that they do a good job.
And the 4,000 plus persons who worked on the government's road cleaning program are expected to receive their payments this week. At Monday's media conference, Minister of Transport and Works, Julian Francis, said the payments should be made to those who worked on the windward side of the island today and tomorrow for those who worked on the leeward side.
We have to keep the roads clear, and in the peak of the rainy season, there's no better time to do an initial clearing, because that's when the grass gets higher. The gangs were sent out for 8 days, and I believe that those 8 days ended on Thursday gone. The machinery of BRAXA has been at hard work all weekend long, preparing pay packages, so that, when are we going to? Tuesday and Wednesday? Okay. Tuesday and Wednesday, we will be making payments to the gangs. Tuesday on the windward side, Wednesday on the leeward side. So persons will be collecting their monies from the gangs. There's some jobbers that have not gone out yet, and they will collect their money at a later date. But the vast majority, which would be about almost 4,000 persons, will be collecting their monies.
Francis added that the road gangs would have benefited from the increase in minimum wage and give the assurance that areas where drains have been clogged, they will be cleared soon.
Because minimum wages for this category of worker moved from $36 a day to $42 a day. $6 per day more for each person in the gang. The road gang driver, whatever their wage was before, got by $6. The was 40 to 46. The timekeeper was 40 to 46, and the members of the gang moved from 36 to 42. So that these are things that just happen, and you will hear the criticism continued about the 1% of the levy because VAT gone up. But you wouldn't hear the good side of the programs of the government. So $2.5 million, the roads are clean, and I want to assure persons that in those areas where the drains are heavily clogged, that we'll be having the jobbers continue this program to clean out those drains.
Agencies involved in emergency response have been encouraged to develop their own incident management system. This encouragement comes from Director of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, Michelle Forbes, as she spoke earlier today at the opening of a 3-day workshop for the Incident Command System, ICL, at the NEMO Conference Room. The ICS system is funded by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, through Global Health Canada, and aims at introducing concepts and principles of ICS to effectively manage emergencies, as well as to identify where each stakeholder agency fits in an ICS structure. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Forbes encouraged participating agencies to put to good use the information being presented, as well as to implement their own ICS system.
Many of us are happy to say that, okay, I have this certificate or I have that certificate, but do we put it into action? Do we show emotion when we actually have an event? And do we manage that event properly? I don't want us to think that, okay, when we leave here, nothing happens. I want to encourage all the organizations here today, and it's a plea that I've been making to all the organizations that have a role in emergency response to have incident command system be institutionalized within your organization. If every single worker in your organization, every police officer, every health personnel does not know what the incident command system training is, does not know what incident command system is, when we go out there to manage an incident, then we will have the failures or the breakdown. And I really want to make this appeal again to all the organizations to have incident command system institutionalized and become part of your training, right from training school, right from the nurses training school, right up to the top. It's not for the high ranking only, it's for all of us.
Also giving remarks was Chief Medical Officer Dr. Simone Keyser Beach, who stated that it would be a disaster if the Ministry of Health wasn't able to provide ICS services and considered the workshop a necessary one.
If we had an earthquake and we were not able to continue to provide our care, that's what a disaster is. And so that's why we are here. So we have given you the tools. We have trained you how to deal with a mass casualty. We have trained you how to deal with emergency care and treatment. We could do other things. We'll do ACLS and all of those things. But unless we have a system which allows all of those components to work together, it won't matter. So that's why we are here for the next 3 days, to see how all of the components in that system work together. So Peter, as usual, would have you involved, not entertained, involved over the next 3 days. But the idea is that at the end of it, we are better able to manage the impact of a hazard and therefore prevent a disaster.
Highlighting the need for agencies to forget the issue of rank and position, PAHO Representative Anik Wilson encouraged the participants to pay close attention to information provided by the facilitator, who has a vast amount of knowledge and experience in the field.
And I heard somebody saying earlier, we have to forget our position. We have to work as one. We have to work in a coordinated manner. We have to work with clear objectives. We have to know what we set out to do and how we are going to achieve it. We have to be able to listen to each other and take clear directives. We have to understand who gives commands, even though that person is our junior. We have to listen to them and work within the organizational structure of that particular incident. So as I said earlier, I am no technocrat in this area. Peter is, and he would be the person doing the training as it relates to incident command during the next few days. Peter is a no-nonsense person, and he expects the very best from you. So when Peter said to you, nah, do it over again, don't get upset. He's just trying to make sure that you are efficient and that you are the best at the end of the training.
Member of Parliament for East St. George, Camilla Gonsalves, is refraining from commenting on the issues surrounding Colin Graham, who has recently been selected to come up against him in the constituency for the opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP. When asked by our news team earlier today as to his feelings about his political opponent, Gonsalves congratulated Graham. However, he made it clear that he would not be distracted by the buzz in the news, since this is not the time for political punches.
I don't have a political opponent. It is not yet election time, and when elections come, we will square off and we'll become, to an extent, political opponents. Colin is my friend, and I congratulate him for putting his name forward to political service. When I was running for the honor to represent the people of East St. George in the last election, I said, I believe in my very first public statement as candidate, that I was not running against Dr. Linton Lewis. I was running for a particular set of programs and policies and for the people of East St. George. Similarly, I'm not running against Colin Graham. And certainly, now is not the time for running. I think sometimes the members of the media, members of the public get sucked into this continuous election cycle. You know, as soon as one election is done, you're talking about the next election. But elections happen every 5 years for a reason, so that you can govern in between.
Gonsalves said everyone, even Graham, will feel the baptism of politics, and that he believes that Graham's heart is in the right place.
Right now my focus is on accomplishments for the people of East St. George and for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There will be plenty of time for the people of East St. George to ascertain the differences between Colin and myself, between our respective visions for East St. George and for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But I don't think now is the time for that. For now, I would just say welcome to the attempt to be a representational politician. I know that a number of people may have expressed some interest within the New Democratic Party before Colin was selected, and for one reason or another they fell by the wayside, and he was the last man standing, and there will be ample time for us to draw contrasts and similarities between one another, but I don't think now is the time. I think that he is going to get his baptism from the media, from the electorate and so on. I don't think I have to add to that in any way, shape or form. The time will come when the distinctions will be sharper, but I don't think that now is the time for me to say anything to Colin other than welcome, and I'm sure his heart is in the right place.
And the allegation of domestic abuse involving Graham seems not to be going away anytime soon. Earlier today, his accuser, Iyah Jacobs, called in on Hot 97 from Barbados, where she is currently vacationing. The announcers apologized to her for remarks made when the issue first came to light. The apology was accepted, and the young lady stated that her action was in no way to hurt Graham, but for him to get the necessary help he needs.
Genuinely, the apology is accepted, both by you and the staff of Hot 97, and also publicly, I've also forgiven Colin. Now, I want to say that a lot of persons will say, you said you didn't make the post to do Colin any harm, but honestly, the post was made, and my aim was for Colin to receive some sort of intervention, because attacking Colin isn't going to deal with the issue. Becoming political about it is not going to deal with the issue.
But you notice that is what he has done, eh?
Excuse me?
You notice that is what he is doing. He is making it a political run.
Well, Colin has to know what he's doing, and I mean, I could understand why the staff and a lot of persons in the public are crucifying me the way they're doing it, because there was a lot of loopholes that were missing. A lot of information was not given. Everybody had the right to speculate, and I mean, the way it came across, of course, attack me, why not? But I am proud to say that as much as I failed like everybody else, I am a believer in Christ, and I know that they that are with me were more and will always be more than they who are against me. And I'm thankful to God for, you know, dealing with this issue in the way he's dealing with it.